announcement. Stop it. Whose phone is this? I unplugged that phone. It was going crazy. That ain't not I don't care.
Testing. Testing.
Jerry, here's your mic. It's already turned on. Thank you.
Testing.
One, two, just so it's easy to. Hey, when you guys speak, don't do it like this because we can barely hear you. Hold it up close like this, okay?
Really close.
Because they're loud. They're loud.
This audience.
Chuck. Chuck.
Chuck.
Hi, hello, testing, good evening. Hi, hello. You're looking good now, baby. We're looking good.
With that. If you are, can you find, if there's empty seats at your table, will you raise your hand, please? And so come on in, guys. There's empty seats here. So we can get started. We want you to have a front row seat. So come on in and find a place to sit down. Lionel's getting more chairs out, looks like. There's some things that never gets old here at Broad Street, and Lionel's way of saying, he's our morning person, and we love our Lionel, whether you say it Lionel or Lionel. Welcome to our 5th Sunday breakfast at Broad Street United Methodist Church, a time where we can choose that table to sit around and meet Broad Street families and friends while enjoying a light breakfast provided by one of our Sunday school classes. They may be in the kitchen, I'm not sure, but if you're a member of the Wesley Fellowship class and it's convenient for you or able to stand, will you please stand up? The Wesley, thank you, for this wonderful breakfast. Thank you so much. And if it's possible for us to listen closely, it will benefit probably the others around our table because this fellowship hall is really hard to hear when others are visiting at the same time. If you do not have a Sunday school class, I'm sure the members of the Wesley Fellowship class would welcome you. It's led by Mary and David Ketcherson, and maybe some other people as well. And they meet downstairs each Sunday at 9:30 to 10:30. And you can reach that location either by the elevator or the stairs and go downstairs, and it's the first room on the right. Based on this 5th Sunday calendar for this year, and the holidays, this will be our last 5th Sunday breakfast in 2025. Based on the holidays and the way that, and you know what happens if you're a holiday weekend, it's a 5th Sunday. I'm Pat Fuller, and I've been at Broad Street since 1999.
Thank you, Pat. My name is Jim Park, and actually I've been a member of Broad Street all my life. I was baptized by Dr. Lundy, so you can go check, and that's been a number of years ago. Today, Pat and I have a wonderful privilege of introducing you to some amazing members of this church. 3 of them are with us today. Unfortunately, Viral Norwood, who was also to be interviewed, is not with us today, as he's in New York babysitting for his brother, who's only 91, and his sister-in-law, who's 83, while she has knee replacement. Next, I would like to begin the introductions and start with someone who brings a twinkle to every eye and a laugh to every room, Charlie McDowell. Charlie lists his age as 95 plus, and with a mischievous grin, jokes that he remembers when the Dead Sea was just sick. Born in Chattanooga, Charlie grew up with a strong foundation. His dad was a minister at Falling Water Baptist Church, and his mother was a homemaker. He attended Tyner High School. Didn't say what year he graduated.
Well, I had to change schools. That's a long story.
Another story. He attended Tyner High School, and it was during those formative years that Charlie stepped into a role beyond his age. For at 15 years of age, his father unfortunately passed away, and Charlie became the head of his household, the oldest of 4, helping to raise his siblings. He worked diligently at a grocery store while finishing high school, doing whatever it took to make ends meet for his family. Now, Charlie is a true man of many talents and an incredible work ethic. While he practically grew up in the building business and always kept a hand in it, his career path was quite varied. He owned restaurants and an award-winning service station, worked in freight, and was even in the manufacturing department at Chattanooga Mattress. But no matter where he was employed, he always made it clear he'd still be building on the side in his spare time. His life hasn't been without its challenges. While in his 20s, Charlie endured a severe leg injury, his foot crushed between a tractor and a trailer. He faced problems with that leg for much of his life until he found a doctor who would be able to give him some help. But through it all, his spirit remained unbroken. Charlie met the love of his life, Martha, in a most delightful way. He was a member of a championship-winning barbershop quartet, and he met Martha on the Hamilton County Courthouse steps during a singing event. They've been married for 43 wonderful years, building a beautiful blended family that includes his 2 sons, Martha's 3 sons, 5 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. Charlie's zest for life is contagious. He loves to fish and especially loves to swim. He routinely swims 3 days a week, sometimes more, and incredibly, he celebrated his 90th birthday by swimming 90 laps. Now, I know I've heard people that are golfers talk about shooting their age, and that's a great feat, but I think if you swim 90 laps at age 90, that's pretty good. When we sat down with Charlie a couple of weeks ago, he told us, if they can help me get in the boat, I can cast. Charlie and Martha moved to Cleveland in 1993, and he tells us they visited just about every church in town. But once they attended Broad Street, they knew they were home and never went anywhere else. Since then, Charlie has become an integral part of our community. He serves on the fishing team for Classes on Broad, has participated and even led countless church mission trips, sang in our choir for years, and faithfully served on what else but the building committee. Charlie, your life is a testament to perseverance, faith, love, and a joyful spirit. We are so incredibly blessed to have you as a cherished member of our Broad Street family. Pat?
What a joy it is this morning to reintroduce you all to somebody that you already know, our very own Jerry Hall. Jerry is 90 years young, and her life has been an incredible journey of hard work, dedication, and deep connections. Growing up in Evansville, Indiana, she learned the value of perseverance early on, especially after her family lost everything in the 1937 Great Ohio River flood when she was just a toddler. The oldest of 4, Jerry's high school years were spent honing business skills like shorthand and accounting, preparing for her successful career that actually brought her our direction. Jerry's mother was a homemaker, and her father worked on the Plymouth production line at Chrysler, in addition to painting houses and hanging wallpaper on the side, whatever was needed to make it work. After moving to Memphis with her husband, Jerry raised her 2 daughters, including our very own Donna Parker. Raise your hand, Donna. Everybody knows Donna. As a single mother. In addition to her 2 daughters, Jerry's family also include 5 grandchildren and 13 great-grandchildren. Jerry's career eventually brought her to Cleveland in 1991 with Shearing Plow. And even after retirement with Shearing Plow, she continued to work for Maytag for another 10 years. Jerry's commitment to our church community is truly remarkable. She originally visited Broad Street right after moving to Cleveland when her landlord introduced her to a member of our church, Dicey Hayes, who not only invited her, but personally brought her that very first Sunday morning, a lesson to all of us. Jerry immediately enrolled in the discipleship study and joined the Wesley Sunday School class who did our breakfast this morning. She has coordinated the Tuesday Ladies Bible Study Fellowship for the last 15 years on Tuesday mornings. And they recently added a game after they do the Bible study and they bring their lunch, then they play a card game after that. Jerry has been actively involved in Family Promise since it began at Broad Street in 2011. Jerry is a cancer survivor twice over, is currently putting her life's experiences into words, writing a book about growing up during the Depression, the flood, and her family's journey through World War II. She's been celebrating a lot recently, taking both of her daughters along with her to reconnect with her hometown of Evansville. visiting Ireland with 3 of her granddaughters, and marking her 90th birthday with a party at Johnston Woods. Jerry, your vibrant spirit and your dedication enriches all of us. And we are so blessed to have you at Broad Street. Jerry Hall.
Thank you, Pat. Next, it's a pleasure to highlight our friend Max Borst. Max's story begins in rural Ohio, where he was the middle of 5 children, born in Cedarville and raised around Springfield. His father was the local superintendent of schools, and his mom taught and coached in his youth, stepping up when the draft pulled many teachers away. Max grew up on a farm with 80 milk cows, and after a long day of school, he would come home to a second shift of farm chores. From a high school class of just 17 graduates, he made the significant leap to the Ohio State University, where he studied economics and biology. After his college years, Max served our country for 2 years in the U.S. Air Force, specifically in the Strategic Air Command. It was during his time in the Air Force in Denver that he met his wonderful wife, Mary Ann. They shared an incredible 68 years of marriage, a testament to their enduring commitment. Together, they raised 2 boys, both of whom sadly have passed from cancer. Despite this profound loss, Max continues to delight in his 6 remarkable grandchildren. Following his military service, Max embarked on a career in industrial engineering. His connection to Cleveland and ultimately to Broad Street began in 1982 when he and Mary Ann moved here from Newton, Iowa, after Maytag acquired Hardwick Stove. A few years later, in 1987, Maytag acquired Magic Chef, leading them back to Newton. Max eventually retired there in 1996 as the VP of Materials, but the call of both friends, Cleveland and Broad Street were strong, and we're so thankful they couldn't resist moving back to spend their retirement years with us. Max and Mary Ann first found their way to Broad Street during the initial time in Cleveland. It was John Jagger Sr., who worked with Max at Hardwick, who introduced them to our church and even showed them around Johnston Woods. They quickly fell in love with the people, the welcoming atmosphere, and especially our choir. Since then, Max has been truly instrumental in shaping our church family. He served as chairman of the church council, contributes on the golf committee, and was even a part of starting our contemporary service in the early 2000s. His dedication extends to hands-on service, having been on the ramp team, teaching the Wesley Sunday school class, and faithfully serving as an usher. His commitment to making a difference reaches far beyond our walls. He's participated in mission trips to places like Guatemala and New Orleans, and has helped build Habitat for Humanity homes. Max, we are so incredibly grateful for your unwavering dedication, your servant's heart, and your integral role in the life of Broad Street. Pat?
Thank you, Jim. Not here in person, but we are incredibly blessed to have with us as a member of Broad Street, Viral Norwood, who next month will celebrate his 94th birthday. Born and raised in Somerville, New Jersey, this gentleman was the oldest of 2 boys, raised by a devoted housewife mother and a transient pipe instructor father. After graduating as valedictorian of his high school class, Viral's academic journey continued at none other than MIT, where he pursued a degree in chemical engineering. After his studies, his career path led him to Bakelite and then eventually to Olin Corporation. It was his work with Olin that first brought him to our wonderful city in 1975. He rose through the ranks, eventually retiring as the Vice President of Environmental Affairs, a role that gave him oversight of an astounding 55 Superfund sites and 27 plants. But beyond his impressive professional achievements, Viral built a beautiful life. While working at Bakelite, he met the love of his life, Kathy, with whom he shared 65 wonderful years of marriage. Together, they raised 3 children, a daughter and 2 sons, and their family has blossomed to include 11 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. Viral and Kathy found their spiritual home right here at Broad Street United Methodist Church, drawn by Viral's Methodist upbringing. Since then, Viral has become an indisposable part of our church family. You can find him attending the Monday morning men's prayer breakfast, the Wednesday morning Bible study that starts early, and the Felty Fellowship Sunday School class. He will be there at least 20 minutes early. His dedication extends to leadership as well, having served as a trustee and now as a trustee emeritus with this church. He's also lent his expertise to the board at Johnson Woods and numerous church building committees. Beyond our church walls, Viral has continued to serve with distinction. He's given his time and wisdom as a board member for Habitat for Humanity, helping families build homes and hope, and has served on the Cleveland Municipal Airport Authority Board. Viral Norwood truly embodies a life well lived, marked by intelligence, dedication, faith, and service. It is an honor to have him among us, and we're profoundly grateful for his contribution to our church and our community, Viral Norwood. Charlie, Jerry, and Max, Jim and I have got some questions for you. Are you ready? Ready. Might as well be. Be as brief as possible, as our goal is to try to finish by 10:15 because the choir needs to be out and different things like that go on. So with each question, I'll start with you, Charlie, and then Jerry, and then you, Max. And if you'll be sure to hold your mic close to your lips is what they tell me, so everyone can hear you, especially those online that might be watching at home. So Charlie, I want to know, when you get up in the morning, what is your go-to beverage?
Hot black coffee.
All right, Jerry, what's your go-to beverage first thing in the morning?
Coffee, almost white with cream.
All right, Max, what's your go-to in the morning?
I drink coffee, whatever comes out of the pot.
All right, there you go.
Okay, next question is, other than coffee, if you could get rid of one food forever, Charlie, what would it be? Get rid of one food.
Spoiled.
Jerry?
Oh, that's good, Charlie.
Persimmons.
Ooh.
Hominy.
Ooh. Isn't that a corn product? But they do something to it, don't they? They bleach or something. I don't
What
know.
about grits, Max?
Say again.
What about grits?
I'm not a fan of grits.
Okay.
I tried as hard as I can, but I just can't find it like y'all down here.
Come from the,
gotcha.
just getting to the south just didn't work for you. All right. So, Charlie, what's one fact that most people don't know about you?
That'd be hard to answer.
Well, we're going to limit it to one. I bet there's several that you've got in your pocket, though.
Most of my life, I've been a music-loving person, and I did not get proficient in anything because I wanted to do everything.
Yeah. And Charlie, do I remember somewhere in your 80s that you self-taught yourself how to play the saxophone?
No, I worked at it, but I went to Lee about 6 years.
To learn how to play the saxophone. And how old were you then, Charlie?
80.
Go figure, okay? What's my problem? All right, so Jerry, tell me one fact that most people might not know about you.
Well, I guess generally I was a tomboy. Specifically, I was the best box hockey player at summer camp.
Woohoo!
Right. Yeah.
All right, Max, what's one fact that most people might not know about you?
I think my love for music, all kinds, and I thoroughly enjoy just listening and taking it as a time where I can sit back and relax.
Even country music.
I love any kind. I'm a great fan of, I guess you say country western, especially Willie Nelson. And we went to a conference, not a conference, but a musical of his. And Marianne was with me, and we were in a livestock barn in Iowa, and where he performed. And then Marianne asked me, "What's that peculiar smell?"
Okay, moving right along. All right. Charlie, do you have a favorite sport to watch, and who is your team?
Braves and anything that the balls are involved in.
So that's popular around here.
Right.
And Jerry, what about you? Favorite sport and team?
It has to be baseball, and Evansville had a Braves farm team, so I've stayed with them through the years.
What was their nickname? The Evansville, their minor league?
It was the Evansville Braves.
Oh, the Braves. Okay.
Evansville Braves, okay.
I probably can guess yours, but Max, your favorite sport to watch and your team?
Yeah, watching the Buckeyes.
The Ohio State University.
The Ohio State, not Buckeyes, yeah. All right. Maybe a little bit more serious kind of questions. All right, Charlie, you have a few years on most of us. Couple. As brief as possible, not necessary, but as brief as possible, can you give senior adults that are here today, 60 and up, a word of advice?
After living 95 years and all the work that you have to put into it, and I know that everything you endeavor to do, you have to work at it. But mainly is to be kind to everyone if you possibly can.
Yeah.
Try not to be judgmental. And I say try because you have to work at it.
It's true, Charlie.
And so be as kind as you can to them, and especially you may be your roommate someday.
That's right. That's right. And you know, as I personally have added a few more years, I'm reminding myself constantly of how important it is that I don't try to live in the past. Okay?
Yep.
Don't think that it's got to be like it always is, because if we're not growing and moving forward, we're dying. Jerry, one word of advice that you would give to senior adults.
I would say continue to be your best self and to use whatever gifts God gave you that you have left and live until you die.
Motion is lotion. I say I'd rather wear out than rust out. So let's keep going, Jerry. Max, one word of advice that you would give to senior adults here today.
Get involved. Our church has many wonderful things where you can get involved. And forget yourself. Don't be afraid to stick your hand out and shake hands with somebody you haven't met, and especially with our younger people, and let them know that while there's time between us, there's still a common tie.
Amen. Amen.
Certainly wonderful words of advice. And just along those same lines for you all, what word of advice would you give to the younger adults out here?
Actually, the basic of most any of us is try to be kind to each other. You're young people, you should be kind to each other and try to be understanding. And again, this takes work with some people.
Yeah. All right, Jerry, what about you? To the younger adults.
And are we talking about, well, if they're even teenagers, well, no matter what part in life, I would say get a good devotional, get a subscription so that if you move around, it can follow you around. And the upper room is something I have read since I've been 10 to 12 years old.
Wow. Wow. Thank
Max?
you, Jerry. Max, any words of advice for maybe these young married couples or
Yes.
middle age?
Again, as my first comment was, get involved. But secondly, I would tell you that, okay, we're turning it over to you. We've had it for a number of years, seen a lot of things come and go, some still here. When I think of what has happened in my lifetime, that if that speed at which it happened increases as it seemed to, you're going to have a busy life and a wonderful one.
Thank you, Max.
All right, one last question here. We'll wrap this up. Any different words of advice that you would give to children, Charlie?
You mean teenagers?
Teenagers or any?
Okay, same token, strive to be kind to each other, work hard to whatever you endeavor to do, and try to be understanding with your fellow students or people that you're involved with. And again, this takes work.
Jerry, any different word of advice for?
Okay.
The devotion's a great one, though, for sure.
This I think it all goes to all ages too, but stay connected, whether you're in school or in a career, but with your family, with your church, and with your community. And keep it servant's heart.
Max, can you think of anything else there you would add?
I could say, take everything with you that you learned here. There's going to be a time in your life when you're going to need something to get you through or get you by. And I think if you can then probably really begin to realize the importance of your faith.
Jim and I met earlier this week with Viral, and we would like to present his answers.
Super.
Chuck, can you turn it up a little bit? So, Viral, when you first get up in the morning, what is your go-to morning beverage?
With children and families struggling with life's challenges. The rich history really stands out. A widow and
So, Viral, when you first get up in the morning, what is your go-to morning beverage?
Coffee with cream and equal.
Because I think you're a diabetic, am I correct?
Yes.
Over these years.
Okay, next question, Viral. If you could get rid of one food forever, what would that be?
Anchovies.
I like that.
Viral, what's one fact that most people don't know about you?
Well, I delivered a baby.
No.
Yes, I was on a volunteer ambulance squad in New Jersey. And the lady said she was pregnant. I didn't necessarily believe her, but out came the baby.
Incredible.
Wow. This next question may not have as much meaning. Do you have a favorite sport that you like to watch? And if so, who's your favorite team?
Boston Red Sox, baseball, and New York Giants football.
So, any particular reason? I know that the Red Sox for sure are a winning franchise and have been for years, but any particular reason why those are your two favorite teams?
Well, I lived in New Jersey for 42 years, so they were, and I went to school in Boston, so I was there when the Lou Boudreau pulled the first Williams shift, which was 1947.
Now, what exactly was that?
The Williams shift,
Yes.
Everybody shifted to the left side. He was a left-handed home run hitter.
I gotcha. Okay. So your favorite player then would be probably baseball, the Red Sox,
Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, and then Giants,
Yeah, probably Frank Gifford.
two all-stars for sure.
Now, Viral, this next question might be a little bit more serious for some of us, and maybe not. You've got a few years on most of us. As brief as possible, what word of advice would you give to senior adults?
Respect. Respect others. Try and help where you can. Volunteer. The older you get, the more tendency will be to not do anything. And I've always told people, if you don't do something, you're not going to live very long.
And if you live very long, you might not be as happy as you are.
Hopefully that's wrong, but it could be. It's what you make of it.
Amen.
And Vera, along those same lines, and again, as brief as possible, what word of advice would you give to younger adults?
Same word, respect. Respect your elders. Be kind to old people. One day you're going to be there.
Absolutely.
And we have one last question for you, Viral. What word of advice would you give to children and to teenagers?
Respect, respect, respect.
Wow. You can't do that enough for all the people in our life.
That's correct.
Thank you, Viral.
Yes, you're welcome. Been a pleasure.
Thank you, Viral. The fellowship hall, and so if you'll take time to take a look at those, and then join us in the sanctuary.
Yes, and if you'll stay in your seats, we're going to show a short video from Holston Home, because this is Fifth Sunday. It's a short video, and then you've got plenty of time to continue to visit with people here, and then join us in traditional service at 10:45.
1895, heard the Lord's call to start an orphanage. She just said yes to the Lord because she believed three things: that kids should be taught about Jesus, they should have a warm and safe place to sleep, and that every child should have the opportunity to reach their full God-given potential.
I knew about Holston Home, but the first day I was on the board, in the first board meeting, I was hooked. Just the people that we have on the board, the wide variety of people, the passion that they have for this ministry, just unbelievable.
The four cornerstones of care for Holston Home for Children are worship, education, work, and recreation. And when we put those four things together, which we do in every service we provide, we believe we're preparing kids to live the life that God intended for them.
I'm the director of the Christian Life Department. So we do Bible study with the kids. We run church with them. On Sundays, we take them on mission trips abroad and also here in the U.S. So it's really incredible, and it's teaching them that it does not matter what have happened in their life. God has not changed His plan for them, and He has redemption for them, and He actually has a future for them, and it's much greater than they think. There is such a thing that is so powerful when our kids worship and they declare the goodness of God above the circumstances in their life. My prayer for them is that they will go all in. Don't incorporate Jesus into your life. It's just all in. And the moment that they go all in, they will just see God move, and it's just so powerful, so incredible. And then there is so much joy that comes from that when you know who is taking care of you.
Most of the time when our kiddos come in, we see a lot of like opposition to people helping them. When you sit with the kid and continue to teach them and try to make sure that they understand what you're teaching them, and then all of a sudden you see this switch flip, and all of a sudden they're repeating to you and using the things that you've taught them. That's special right there.
I am passionate about being an educator. I love that aha moment. I think that my overall goal is to a lifelong love of learning. If you have a love for learning, then you're constantly wanting to grow. I may not be able to do this now, but I can. And, setting goals to reach that. I just feel like it makes you an achiever.
So my role is I'm director of hospitality, which for the most part is about the food. There's no event that we have in our life that we don't have food surrounding it. A wedding, a birthday, a baby shower, everything, holidays, everything food surrounds that, and it's a way we show love and care. I also get to do some programs with the youth, like I have a catering program with the youth that I get to show them how to cook. But even more important than how to cook is how to be in customer service, how to have a strong work ethic. So I think it's important. So I love the catering program that we have with the youth here.
I'm the adventure-based counselor, the ABC program. So what that looks like is hiking, kayaking, canoeing, horseback riding. We have an entire challenge course that we climb and do all kinds of stuff there. We've kind of got a little bit of everything. The horses are providing a therapeutic outlet for us. And when you get on to ride a horse, what an empowering experience. So many kids, whether they're tall or short, they say, I feel so tall, I feel so big, I feel on top of the world. And that's a great experience to give someone who's been through a lot of trouble in their lives. When they start to have fun, some of their walls and barriers fall down. Like I was describing, you'll turn around and see like these really too cool for school kids like braiding their horse's manes or talking about their day. You're having fun, but something inside of you is transforming.
Holston, once you really allow them to take it all in and allow them to help you, they will become your forever family. I've been out for almost 3 years, 2 to 3 years, and still to this day, if I'm hey, Miss Frida, can I come by with Liam? Of course, they're welcoming. They love watching my son grow. And if I ever need anything, if they have the means to help, they will help.
Sometimes I'm asked about the kids that we get to serve, and the first thing I want to say is they're kids. What makes them so incredibly inspiring to me is their resiliency. And there's a call, especially to God's people, to come and be the support that so many of us were blessed to receive so that kids can have the life that the Lord intended for them.
God placed me to be here, and I feel like it's such an honor that He chose me to be someone that gets to go and hear the raw parts of their heart and the real pain that they're experiencing, and then get to pray for them. We have kids that come through here. I always remind myself that I am loving and serving two families, the families that they are currently in and then the families that they're going to create and be in later.